show. I'm Elsa Kurt, and today's guest is Garay Ranatza. He is quite a guy. He's got a really, I haven't heard it yet, but I know he's got a really interesting story to tell because it is multifaceted. So welcome to the show, Garay. How are you?
Thank you, Elsa, for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited. So we connected on social media, started with the good old TikTok, right? Was it? Yeah, over on TikTok.
Yes.
And we got to chatting a little bit and decided it would be really fun for us to sit down and talk because one, you have, well, you're kind of like the trifecta. You're on TikTok. You are part of the law enforcement family and you're an actor. So we're going to kind of cover everything. But I want to start with your law enforcement career. Tell me about that, please.
Well, I started back in 1983, and I worked for the sheriff's office here in the parish that I live in. And I was back then, law enforcement was good. I mean, that's when people respected law enforcement, and we could do things today that they can't do. I mean, back then that they can't do today. So I remember walking in the sheriff's office. There was a big old guy, stands about 7 foot tall, and he walked. I was fresh, military, and my uniform was all pressed and everything. My shoes, I had patent leather shoes on. I walked in, and I'm like, and he met me and put his arm around me and says, "You must be the new boy." I said, "Yes, sir." Yeah. I looked up at him. I'm like, I wasn't going to say, anything else or anything to make him mad because he could put a beating on me. So, so let me tell you something, boy. He goes, what's said and done here stays here. Do you understand me? I said, yeah, yes, sir. I didn't, but I said, yes, sir. And we walked around into the deputy's room, and I seen, little spats of blood on the floor and on the wall and everything. I mean, back then, if somebody was disrespectful or something, they'd get a backhand.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it should be. This is why we've got like we are today. But anyway, that's another story. And then I really figured out. I said, I think I know what he's talking about.
So, you mentioned a whole different universe there.
A whole different, yep, it sure did. But I started there, and then I worked at the sheriff's office. Done a lot. One of the greatest trainers that trained me as law enforcement officer. He's no longer. He's also retired with us, but I was so happy and so honored that he had trained me the way I could come up to where I was able to do my 30 plus years, and great on reports. I mean, he was wonderful on reports and knew how to articulate just the right things where I was still learning, and I still got some of my old reports.
It was like a crash course too, right? Like, I mean, you just get dumped right into it, and it's like, here you go, figure it out.
That's it. And the same way, I mean, they give you the keys to the car and say, all right, go patrol. And you're like, you get to play with the lights and sirens.
My husband, who's same length of years, about 35 years now for him, and he kind of says the same thing. Like those early years were like, it was like the Wild West.
It was.
It was a whole different ball game and very different. And and you're right. People knew, if you're gonna tangle, we
had less problems,
right?
We had less problems back then.
Yeah,
we did. And I feel for these young kids today. They're out there doing their job, protecting and serving, and they really. I mean, we got to take our hats off to them. And if I ever see one of them in trouble, of course, I'm going to be there for them. And I'm, sure every good American will. But it's no way I can police today.
Yeah, it's such a different world. And, and it's not that criminal behavior has increased, but I mean, criminals are still criminals, and the difference is that the level of accountability has changed. So the fear that they should rightfully have of getting caught at doing something doesn't exist anymore. They know they're out in 2 minutes. You know, the worst thing that's going to happen to them is that first 5 minutes of literally physically getting caught. And even now, they don't even worry about that because everybody's got their cell phones on, you know, their cameras trained.
Right.
So they're like, you're not going to do anything. You can't do anything to me. And yeah, our officers are, you know, and I don't want to say, I hate to say that they're afraid to do their job because I think that's an insult to them, but they are much more cautious and more wary about doing their job to the full extent of, you know, what their job entails. And that obviously puts their lives in danger. So, yeah, absolutely. It's not, I don't envy anybody in the field right now. And it's tough. I've got 3 dogs, so that could be mine at any given moment.
You hear mine?
I heard yours. I'm like, I thought it was mine at first. I'm like, oh God, mine are starting up really right now.
Yeah, this is my son's dogs. He's actually in the Navy and he's on deployment. So he wanted to get rid of them. And I'm like, no, son. I said, you love your dogs. These are your babies. I said, I will hold them for you and what, and just, you know, I'll dog sit them for you. You know, I'll be the granddaddy. You know, and
that's awesome.
And so they great dogs. Except for the male dog, he's got 2. He's got a female and a male, and the male dog's just a little hard headed, a little. And well, I mean,
typical male.
Yeah, exactly. So, we all are.
Right. We're no better. We're no better.
My wife says it all the time.
I'm not throwing any stones. This is a glass house right here. No stones are getting thrown. Hey, so please tell your son that I thank him for his service. And I forgot to mention your service. Thank you for your service. You are an Army Gulf War veteran. And so thank you. How long were you in the Army for?
11 years. And I went into the reserves. Okay. And and then we got activated and went to the Gulf War. And you know, the military is some of the best years of my life. And it really was. And you never remember any bad times, not even war. I mean, you just remember all the good times you've had. And finally last year it was some buddies of mine that we in the Gulf War together, and we hadn't seen each other since the Gulf War. And last year we finally got together, and we have a camper, and we go camping, and you know, we hit each other up on Facebook, and we're like, hey, let's go camping. Yeah, all right, let's do it. We did, and it felt like we were back young again. You know, doing what we did in a unit, and it was just crazy. Now our wives were going crazy because they were like, "No, y'all can't do that. You're gonna go to jail."
That is, you know, that's a special thing and a really unique thing that most of us, myself included, can't relate to and can't understand. The level of camaraderie and kinship. You know, it's not even friendship; it's a kinship that you develop with these people. I mean, you're putting your lives, and same with law enforcement, you know, you're putting your lives in each other's hands. And that is an incredible amount of faith that you're putting in another human being to, you know, to be by your side when, you know, excuse my language, when shit goes south. Right.
And that is right. That is right. And
I have such respect and awe and admiration for that. And my husband as well, he's same Gulf War vet, Marines. And you know, I'm always stunned and awed. And one thing you said stuck out also for me was that you mentioned about, you know, keeping your mind on the good times, the things that were good, what the good takeaways from it all. And, you know, my husband is very similar, you know, of course, and I know the same is for you. There are plenty of bad memories that you could focus on should you choose to. And, you know, what a powerful, important gift to have that you're able to put things in a perspective that's healthy for you and good for you. So that's amazing.
Thank you. And tell your husband, thank him for his service.
I will, thank you.
If I ever get to meet him, I got a box of crayons. But
I will pass that along.
I might get a nasty text later on.
Maybe so. That's too funny. I love that little friendly rivalry that goes.
Oh yeah, that is always. I had a
That's
friend of
awesome.
mine that I worked with in the special operations in
Mhm.
the sheriff's office. He was a Marine.
Okay.
Well, he is a Marine. I mean, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
And him and I just always went back and forth, back and forth. And I'll never forget it was we were chasing a perp that was wanted for attempted murder of a police officer in Dallas,
Mm.
and he ran into the swamp and by vehicle and went down one of them long roads. Well, him and I knew the swamp because we had to rescue people out of the swamp a lot, and we're going. And it was like a whole bunch of units and detectives and everything. And there's one little area down up deep in the swamp. And him and I looking at each other, we're like, we need to go hit the boat ramp by the interstate. He's like, yeah. So him and I went over there. We stayed there, and I seen this little trail right next to the boat launch. I seen a little flicker. I'm like, I think something's up in the woods right there. So let's go take a look. Well, he did. He walked straight. The guy had a bead on him. And I kicked the living hell out of him. I kicked the gun and I'm yelling and Kenny turns around and he looks at me and he goes, shh. I'm like, he's like, oh. So it's always like, hey, the Army saved a Marine again.
You didn't let him forget that. He was
no. We talk today. We still talk
I
about
wouldn't
it.
either. I would do the same. I'm not gonna lie. I would do the same. I would totally do the same.
But that's the relationship we had. Now, nobody could separate us. Nobody could jump in between us.
Right.
We'll go back and forth, but we had that respect for each other, and we were both in the Gulf War as well.
Yeah. That's that whole sibling thing, right? I can talk smack about you. I can knock you around, but if somebody else does, now you're dealing with me too, right? Yeah.
That's correct. We're all, I don't care what branch you're in, we're all brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You served our country just like we did, and we will stick together.
I love that. All right. So you went from a military career into a law enforcement career.
Right.
And when you retired from law enforcement, what was next? What did you do next? I don't think it was right into acting. Was it right into acting?
No. I was actually acting a little bit. I went through different stages in law enforcement. I went through criminal patrol investigations, special operations. In my last 10 years, we're in training. I wound up being a training lieutenant and in charge of training and retraining. Training new cadets and then retraining some of the old veterans, and that's kind of hard to do, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Old dogs, new tricks. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't tell me. I've been around 25 years. Yeah.
You gotta teach me nothing, boy.
That's right.
See, I told you I would start doing that.
You did it too. So anyway, I in 2010, my youngest daughter, she was in theater at school, and I wound up. I knew this agent that was on the lived on the West Bank, acting agent, and she, I thought, hey, well, how about try to get my daughter some background stuff just to give her some experience, just to see if she likes it. And she goes, yeah, absolutely, Gary. I'll hire you. You hire her, and we'll put y'all both in background. And we did. And I think we did a shot in the movie Paradise with Julianne Hough. And you can see in the church scene, you see me, in the back, doing all of that. And,
That's cool.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah. And you see me in, I think I had a little speaking role on, what was it? What was the name of that? It was a Billy Bob Thornton and Ava Longoria movie, something Outlaws.
I should know because I love Billy Bob and I can't think of what it is.
Baytown Outlaws.
Okay.
And it's when the sheriff come in and I was supposed to open the door. Hey, good morning, Sheriff. And they let him come in, but they cut my speaking part out, so they didn't have to pay me.
Oh man.
They had to pay me the speaking part, So, but that was my my introduction to acting. But now my daughter would, she would come with me and play a background and stuff. She would get credits in school for it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and that was the whole thing. And I really enjoyed doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I kept going. My daughter lost interest in it. And so I kept going. But I would have to take a couple of days off of work here and there because, you got to be on set. Well, I started feeling guilty. So, man, I'm letting my people down. I'm taking off and I need to be there for my people. So I called her and I said, look, I can't do anything right now. I've got to wait until I retire.
Mm-hmm.
So I retired.
Were you with an agent at that point, or were you just?
I stepped away. And I had I had an agent. Once I retired in 2019, I tried to look her up, and she says, "Nah, Gary, I'm not doing it no more." I said, "No problem." So I said, I want to improve my craft a little bit more. So I went to a place called Creating You, and it's an acting school, and it's up in Covington. So I looked her up, and I started doing that, and man, I realized I wasn't much of an actor then, but I'm improving myself now, So she does a thing called LA to LA, like Los Angeles to Louisiana.
Okay.
And every summer she'll put together a little 2-week thing that will have all the actors will have skits, different types of skits. And then you'll team up with another actor. You'll, get everything together, make sure everything's right. And then you'll present it to casting directors, and who are there grading you. Well, I did a cop scene, which was easy for me.
Like sleepwalking, right?
Right. And I did a comedy scene. And the comedy scene was like just a dirty old guy, I had 2 agents give me a call back on that. And then 1 casting director, which was really a great, man. I was honored to actually have him call me back. But so I was kind of torn between 2 agents. And I went to my acting coach and I said, which one do you think I should do? And she goes, if you don't do I'll tell you, Landrum. If you don't do Landrum Arts, I'm gonna punch you in your mouth.
And it's decided.
So I went back. Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's how I need somebody to help me make decisions. Like, because I'll hem and haw over something. Like I most of the time I'm like a quick decision maker. I think of something, I decided, I do it, that's it. But when it's like something that needs contemplation like that, I will hem and haw and make lists and do all the things. I want somebody to do exactly what that person did. Just, I'm going to punch you in your mouth if you don't do it.
Right. Well, and I went ahead. I'm glad I did, because she told me, she goes, they are the best in the Southeast region.
That's so
everybody cool. Looks to them, and she goes, you are fortunate because they never take anybody from LA. So you got something that they like. Wow. And I'm like, well, I'm honored,
So you're potentially willing to, like, if Hollywood calls, you're hopping on a plane, you'll go.
Oh, absolutely.
That's wild. Yeah. So
now I've done many auditions. And I remember my first agent telling me, Gary, it'll be 1,000 auditions. You'll do 1,000 of them before you actually get picked for one. So, and that I've always kept that, because you do a lot of auditions, but you might get a call back here and there, but other than that, you don't hear nothing. So it would bring an actor down, but I don't let it get me down, because I remember what my first agent told me, and I'm like, I'm retired anyway. I got an income coming in, so, and I'm having fun with it. Do I want to make it big? Absolutely. I would love to make it right. So I don't know if you know John Schneider or not.
Are you talking about from Dukes of Hazzard, John Schneider?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he
tell me
lives,
you know him. Don't even.
Yeah, he lives. He's got some movies that he does in Hammond, and which is not far from us. And I ordered one of his movies called To Die For, and it's a very good movie. It's patriotic
Uh,
and it's well put together. And so I'm trying to get on with his studios to try it because I've been emailing him and he's been emailing me back. He's going to get somebody to come in and look. Yeah, so I'd love to get on with his studios because I love what he stands for.
yes,
And
I
you know,
love him. I love him. I have loved him since I was a kid. Yes, I love
yeah,
him.
yeah. Well, I was more in the Daisy, but you know,
Well,
yeah,
I don't understand why. It's so weird. Yeah, I was a Bo Duke girl.
he was a Bo Duke. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
love those Duke boys. But
Well,
yeah,
he does a lot of good for the community.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
he
I
does.
love
He and
it's
he
such nice to hear when they're, when you find the ones that are actually like just really good human beings, and
right,
not just
right.
creeps. But yeah, he's a great patriot and everything. So,
Yeah.
make sure you tell him I said hey.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
I will. I will. Also, I will.
'cause,
I'm gonna say.
that will be it'll be a total day maker for him, obviously. But
Maybe we can get him on your show.
how about that? Yeah, put in a
Yeah.
word for me, will you? Because it's all
Yes.
about me. All
That's
about
right. And it should be. That's your show. That's right.
I know. What a terrible host I am. Look at turning the attention off of my guest and making it about me. I think that's like podcast host 101 of the nose. No,
So,
don't do that. Here I am doing it. But seriously, let's
that's
get back to
okay.
you. I want to talk to you about that accent of yours that I love. And can you do like a northerner accent? Can you talk like these?
I try to do a Sylvester Stallone.
Oh wow, hey, how about that?
Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
love it. That's
yeah.
awesome. But you know what? I actually, kidding aside, what I really want to say about your speaking voice is that please tell me that you are going to be doing some book narrating and voiceover type stuff, because how could you not with that voice? It's
I've did a lot of auditions for voiceover, and I never got one.
That is so bizarre to me. I would be
Yeah.
like hired. That's the voice right there. Like if I had the headphones on
Uh,
and had to listen to all these voices and I heard that one, I'd be like, that one. That's the one. They're dummies. They don't even know.
yeah. Now, I did a movie last summer called The Desk, and it's not out yet. It's still being post production, and it takes a year or so for editing and everything else. But I played a Russian killer,
Mm,
and that was a fun movie to do.
awesome.
So and I had to research because I'm really not good at accents. So I had to look for a Russian. I was Googling Russian
Sure.
accents and
Yeah.
American, English to Russian, Russian to English, and I'm going, how can I do this? So I'm practicing it, and finally I'm like, you just got to change some of your letters to F's,
Mm,
like V, like we, like W to V, stuff like
mhm.
that. Yeah, V going, yeah, V Russian, and Ukraine,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to be
so
so hard to be consistent with it though,
it is, but thank God it wasn't too much
Oh, that's good.
speaking. It was more killing than speaking. So I got a Russian friend of mine that actually knows Russian,
Oh,
and
nice.
she told me, she goes, don't ever talk like that again.
Whoops.
That's not Russian. Don't ever talk like that again.
That's here I am going, oh my God, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
I know.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it difficult or easy for you to memorize lines? Like that's the part that, because that whole lane really does interest me, but I'm so petty and childish. I'm like, I want my own show. Here I am coming out of nowhere. I want my own show. I'm going to be the star of my own show. And I don't even know if I could memorize lines. Tell me a little bit. Is there a trick? Tell me the trick.
Well, I wish there was. I really do. It's just about wanting to know it, wanting to do it,
Mm,
and pretty much just getting in a quiet room and doing it,
yeah.
and going over and over and over again. I've had the movie I did, it's a Western, not a Western, a cowboy movie I did in December, where it was a long kind of narrative that I had to say. And I'm like, I'm never going to learn that.
Very, yeah.
I did though. I did. And it's it was just going over it, over it. And my wife works with me on it too. She'll
Nice.
read with me and, she'll, and she'll, and she'll correct me. I'll get stunned for a minute. I'll go line and then she'll give me the word and yeah.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah,
I
but
love that she's so supportive. That's so awesome.
yeah, she's very, very supportive, and I tell you, she's wonderful. She really, and she supports me. I'll go out of town for a little while. Like went to Florida to do that cowboy movie, and she just takes care of everything at home, and you know, so it's great.
That's
It
sweet.
really
That's
is.
a good life right there.
Yes.
So now where and how can everybody find you? If you have any projects coming up or a website or anything like that, if you have anything this is the time to plug anything you want to plug.
Right. Well, I have a TikTok that I have some little things on it. I gotta learn. I really don't. I can know how to do certain things, but
Yeah.
I know I see people like you on TikTok, and you're able to change things and do things on it and make it look great. And I'm like, I can't do that. How do I do that? I might have to hire Elsa to do that for me.
That's so
So,
funny.
yeah.
I
So
love it. So you have the TikTok. You're on Instagram too, yes?
I'm on Instagram too, Garay Ranatza.
Perfect.
And then Facebook, and also it's Garay Ranatza. And also, I didn't tell you this. I also do I did professional wrestling.
What?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's seriously cool. Everything else was seriously cool too. I'm not minimizing anything else. I'm a pro wrestling geek, like not these
For
days,
you.
but back in the, oh my God, the old school
Really?
stuff, like going way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like
Well,
Jimmy Superfly
I'm
Snuka and
Hacksaw Jim Duggan and One Man Gang, and
yes, Roddy
I
Piper was the
managed.
love of my life. Yes,
I
Roddy Piper.
managed Roddy Piper. Yeah, he is one of the best wrestlers of all time. Why he did not get a championship, I have no idea.
Beyond, he must
Because
have made
he was,
somebody mad over there. I don't know.
yeah, he must have, because he really, before he passed, I mean, he really deserved it. He was
Yeah,
such a great
absolutely.
guy. Yeah.
So now what we need to do is we need to set up another interview just to hear about the wrestling career, because I feel like that alone is its whole separate show.
It could be. It really
Well,
could be.
now I'm gonna pin you down and say, will you come back on the show?
Oh, absolutely. I
Oh,
will. I'd love to. I'd be honored to.
awesome. Good. Because I know you're gonna have lots more stuff going on, and I just want to be able to say I knew him when you're a big shot star. I'll be one of the little people saying, Gary,
Yeah. I remember you, Elsa. I always will. Yeah. You
awesome.
need to
All
keep
right.
doing those videos, though. I love those videos. They make me
Thank you.
laugh.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that so much. I really do, because as you well know, when you do this kind of stuff, you're just in this isolation bubble, and you feel like you don't even think about the fact that other people see it. I always get a little dorky and weirded out when somebody, a stranger says, "Hey, I watch your videos," and I'm like, "Really? That's so weird. People see them? Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It's a good
Oh,
reminder that you're not actually in an isolation bubble. People are looking.
people are watching. That's right. People are.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all right. I love it. I love what I do. I love that you love what you do, and
Yeah.
more people with your type of mindset and mentality about life. That's what we need in the world, really. Not to get
Absolutely.
all sappy, but really, you have such a great energy and exuberance to you. I love it. This has been an absolute joy chatting with you.
Well, maybe we can do, if I heard you're a great writer, maybe we can do a little sitcom or something.
Yes,
Put
yes.
something together. Put something together. I'll get a production team,
Let's do it.
and maybe we could do a little sitcom, because you got very good comedic timing.
Thank you very much. I
So
appreciate that. Listen, I've got scripts. I mean, it's what I do when I can't sit still. I have a really hard time sitting still. So if I am sitting still, I have to be, writing or I don't actually know how to knit, but I pretend like I can knit. It's like it's never ending scarf. It's just to keep my hands busy.
right,
It's
you
so
got
dumb.
one long strand.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's all it is. Serves no purpose. It's just so I can keep my hands busy. Very weird.
Right.
But that's what I do. So, I just write scripts for my imaginary sitcom that I
There you go.
star in. So yeah, come on, let's do it. Why
Let,
not?
let me know when you're ready. I would definitely love to get a production team and maybe send it to them and say, hey, this is what we want to do.
Absolutely.
You know,
The one thing I always say about all of the stuff that I do and I have done, and the first thing I started doing in the public arena was the books writing. And I learned very quickly, and I'm sure you have too, that, no one's going to make a place for you. You have to like carve your own lane. You just have to make your own space. And
right.
yeah, so that's one of the ways to do it. So yeah, we'll definitely chat offline on that, and email and message and all that stuff. So everybody stay tuned. You may see a
Yes.
show from us.
I'd be definitely. It's going to be great.
Yes, yes. I know we need to like do like the manifesting thing. So let me rephrase that. You will be seeing a show from us down the road, right?
There you go. We
There it
will
is.
be doing a show down the
Will.
road.
You will. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, all right, guys. Garay Ranatza, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going
Thank
to
you
be
for
talking
having
again
me.
another time. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care.
Hey, family, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the reader in your life, why not check out one of my books? They're all available on Amazon and most major online book retailers, as well as elsakurt.com.